Live from Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Campfire Cafe on the Equestrian Legacy Radio Network. I'm your host, Gary Holt. Our co-host in Albuquerque, New Mexico is the ever-lovely Miss Bobby Bell. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, Gary. We have LEELEE Robert. You know, if you're around her, the minute she just even walks in a room, you just can't help but smile, and the whole energy level goes up. So we're excited to have her back.
Well, we're looking forward to talking with LEELEE and sharing some of her great music from the album Swing Set. But right now, let's take a listen to a great song from Miss LEELEE Robert. It's one called Choo Choo Chiboogie, and we'll be back in just a moment to talk with LEELEE Robert today on the Campfire Cafe.
With a pack on my back, tired of transportation in the back of a hack. I love to hear the rhythm of the clickety-clack, and hear the lonesome whistle, see the smoke from the stack, and pile around the Democratic fellas named Max. So take me right back to the track. Jack, a choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-boogie, woo-woo, woo-woo, choo-boogie, choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-boogie. Take me right back to the track. You reach your destination, but alas and alas, you need some compensation to get back in the black. You take the morning paper from the top of the stack and read the situation from the front to the back. The only job that's open needs a person with snacks, so put it right back in the rack. Jack, a choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-boogie, woo-woo, woo-woo, choo-boogie, choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-boogie. Take me right back to the track. And lead the life of Riley in a beaten down shack. Oh, when I hear the whistle, I can peep through the crack and see the train rolling while she's ballin' the jack. I love to hear the rhythm of the clickety-clack, so take me right back to the track. Jack, a choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-boogie, woo-woo, woo-woo, choo-boogie, choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-boogie. Take me right back to the track. Jack, woo-woo.
Welcome back to Campfire Cafe on the Equestrian Legacy Radio Network. If you are just joining us, that was Choo Choo Chiboogie. Who doesn't love a train song? Performed by LEELEE Robert from her album Swing Set. Gary and I are eager to chat with Campfire Cafe's returning guest, LEELEE Robert. Dividing her time between Paradise Valley, Arizona, and Jackson Hole, Wyoming, LEELEE's love of the Western landscape inspires much of her music. This talented performer's music has drawn critical acclaim and honors. Known for her endearing cowgirl jazz, unique music style, combining the colors and textures of jazz and blues with the lyric strengths of Western music about love, landscape, and laughter. Salty, dynamic, original are words used to describe her performances and music. Please welcome back to Campfire Cafe a performer who lives out her dreams of being an artist and musician every day, the original cowgirl jazz Western music crooner, LEELEE Robert. Welcome, LEELEE.
Oh, thank you, Bobby Jean and Gary. I am so delighted to be here. Hey, I enjoyed listening to that. It's been a while since I've listened to that song, and boy, those musicians really, they were some of the top musicians that I have ever worked with. I'm going to find that album hard to top, but, we're going to try.
Well, this music was recorded here in Nashville. And earlier today, I was reading through your blog. You had a few good things to say about everything from the musicians and their talent and how quickly they got things done to the chocolate brownies that were served to you while you were here. So,
oh, my gosh. I'm telling you, they were just beautiful people. When you hear some of the names like Rory Hoffman and Stuart Duncan.
Yeah, Stuart Duncan.
His wife was the
legendary
one who made the brownies. Just nice people. So talented. You kind of get a tendency to put them on a pedestal, but when you work with them, you realize that they just have decades of experience. They can get the job done quickly, and they're easy to work with and nice people. I had a totally positive experience, and Richard Smith at Tune Smith Studio was just a fabulous engineer to work with, and he's also a great guitarist. I'm telling you, there's more talent in Nashville than I think any part of the country, and I had a wonderful experience.
You've got some new music you're working on, so perhaps it might not be too long before you're back in Nashville to do some recording?
Well, I don't know. That was during the pandemic. There were some bad things that came out of the pandemic, but there were also some good things that came out of the pandemic. And one of the good things was that the Nashville people, all of the stars were hanging around home because no one was performing. So I was able to get with Richard Smith a package deal with all these incredible musicians. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to get that again. But I am working on a Christmas album. It takes a while to put a good album together. So I'm working on some new ones. It's going to be a surprise. There's going to be some fun spiritual ones as well. I sing around at churches. My specialty is writing the song for their sermon. I always say, I can't just sit down and write a song, but I can sit down and write a song if there's a theme. I've found that I can do that. For instance, there was a sermon called Truth or Consequences, and I wrote a song about that. I just got back from the Holy Land, so I'm very inspired.
Well, we want to talk about that. We'll be back after we listen to Arizona.
Oh.
Arizona, I'm just starting to know you. With your tall sorrow, standing so strong and so still. With your skies big as daydreams, and your clouds with silver linings, as the sun sets on purple mountains. I wonder why it took me so long to hear the beauty of your desert song, but I swear by the stars in the Arizona nights that I'll always love you. Arizona. your trails good for walking or riding horseback for miles, with your red rocks and mountains, with your dust storms and monsoons, and the tumbles and tumbleweeds go drifting on by. I wonder why it took me so long to hear the beauty of your desert song. I swear by the stars in my sweet baby's eyes that I'll always love you.
Arizona, written and performed by today's special guest, LEELEE Robert, from her award-winning album Swing Set. And we are chatting with LEELEE. So, LEELEE, you spend your time between that fabulous state that you just wrote about in this song and Wyoming. What's it like to, you spend 6 months in one and 6 months in the other, and pretty much, is that right?
That's correct. We spend about 6.5 months in Wyoming and 5.5 in Arizona.
Okay.
It took some getting used to. I'm going to confess to you. I promised I'd tell some secrets on our show here, and I can tell you it's still an adjustment. Imagine, you know, having all your friends and the church you go to and the places you play, and then all of a sudden everything switched around and you go to a new place and you have new friends and you have a new church you go to and new places you play. And I finally, after about 22 years, I've gotten it to where there's fullness in both places, but I still have the problem of how do you take all your clothes? You know? And all
I figured maybe you had two wardrobes.
Everybody suggests that, but you have special costumes that are kind of not repeated. There are certain things like, okay, your Levi's, okay, maybe, but now you have your favorite Levi's. So you got to bring your favorite Levi's, right? Or you got to bring your favorite little black dress. Or of course, you have your favorite hats. Oh, it goes on and on. But I feel very privileged. I thank God every day that I have that variety, because it is a real pleasure to be able to experience the lovely weather in the summer in Jackson Hole, and it's wonderful to have the winters here in Arizona and Scottsdale and Paradise Valley, Arizona, with the bright sun, where we finally have some sun, and we've had a couple of days of pretty big rain, which is rare for us.
How did you go from one state to the other state?
I was born and raised in Arizona, and I lived for small amounts of time and, a few years in California, and I lived in England for a few, 3.5 years, different places. But I came back to Arizona in 1986, and in about the year 2000, I met my husband, who had a house up in Wyoming, and he would bring his directors of operations. He had quite a few employees, about 1,800 employees, and he had directors of operations for the Domino's Pizza franchise. He sold all the stores in the year 2003, but back when I met him in about 2000, he had people, and he'd bring them up for an incentive program, and and they'd get to ski, and they did all kinds of things like that, and slept in bunk beds at his house. And so, you know, he had a place, and he'd go up for long weekends and a couple of weeks in the summer and take his kids up there. So he was really well established up there. And I came up my first trip with him, and wow, he wanted to really impress me, and he did by taking me to a nice steak dinner at the $1 million Cowboy Steakhouse there. And, you know, it's just such a fun place. It's eternal springtime.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Hey, we're going to get to another song right quick, and it's one called Cowboy Swing, and we're going to come back and talk more with LEELEE Robert today on the Campfire Cafe, heard around the world, streaming at equestrianlegacy.net, on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and iTunes.
A rancher's work will never seem to end. Bale the hay, then there's a fence to mend. It sometimes seems to be all work, no play. And though it's worth it, I have to say, if you're ever feeling down and blue, there's just one thing I'll recommend to you. Swing on, cowboy, swing on till the cows come home. Don't be so cool, you better rally your spurs and make some noise. Swing on, cowboy, swing on till the cows come home. Don't be so cool, you better rally your spurs and make some noise. I once met a man who did not know how to swing. Sad, sad thing, he did not know how to swing. Until one day that swinging bug bit him mid-stride. That sun settled down and he swung throughout the night. Swing on, cowboy, swing on till the cows come home. Don't be so poor, you better rattle your spurs and make some noise. When you start feeling down, it seems you don't know how to smile. Don't wait around to try and smile after a while. When you're finished working horses and baling hay, throw your worries out the door, settle down and swing away. Make up your own and have some fun. Swinging, 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 beep, beep it up, beep, da, dee, da, beep, beep. Swing to the rhythm till the rhythm's done. Make up your own and have some fun. Swing on, cowboy, swing on till the cows come home. Don't be so cool, you better rally your spurs and make some noise. Rally your spurs and make some noise. Rally your spurs and make some noise.
Cowboy Swing, Lee Robert. It's a great song.
That song was written by 14-year-old Leah Sawyer.
Really?
It's one vote away from being Song of the Year with the Western Music Association. That girl is so talented. I was thrilled with that song. That gypsy jazz feel, I thought, oh, I got to do it. And she was very kind to let me put it on my album. She is such a talent. Leah Sawyer. Their whole family is just amazing. The family band.
Simple Gifts, the Sawyer family band.
Simple Gifts. Yeah, the Sawyer family band. I love them all. There's so many wonderful people in this Western music genre. I love so many of the people. They're real people. You know, we have the cowboy way is just strong ethics. I love that about, you know, cowboy music and the genre. It's the ethics are just as important as the music. You know, harmonizing together. That's what it's all about, harmonizing, personally and professionally.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
I guess I'm doing a motivational speech.
You are doing really well at that because it's not your first time. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that you have just come back from the Holy Lands and your first time out there. What was the most impressive thing that you saw?
I'll have to just tell you, I went with a former pastor, Pastor Mike Atkins, who baptized me and my husband probably 12 years ago. So he is a really good friend. He does trips to the Holy Land about every other year. There must have been 10 or 12 different things that we saw, including Nazareth, the town that Jesus grew up in, Bethlehem, where he was born. We saw King Herod's, the nasty King Herod, his castle. We saw Sisera, where they had the chariot races. There were some really amazing things like the Magdala stone, where Mary Magdala was raised in Magdala, but they had all of this whole area of the Holy Land is constantly under excavation, and they're finding artifacts and different things under cities, under cities, under cities. You see what I mean? We sat on the south steps of the old Jerusalem, and that was where Jesus preached to his followers. We went to the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane.
I think that would probably be the most moving
by his follower. And I mean, there were just so many amazing things. I could tell you I have never been to a place that has so much history. We kind of take a lot of the stories like the angels coming and to the shepherds in the field and proclaiming good tidings of great joy that Jesus was going to be born. But to see Bethlehem and to see the fields where they believed that the shepherds were watching their sheep, it just sort of brings it from myth into reality. We think we've heard these stories so long, we kind of think, some people think of them as myths, but when you go to Israel, you realize that the excavations that they've done and some of the historical writings that they've found in Dead Sea Scrolls and all of these kinds of things, that you're hearing history. I will send you a couple of pictures that I took from the Garden of Gethsemane, and they have old olive trees. You realize that this garden has been there for a long time. It does affect you. You know, we live in cities where things are so far away from each other, and you have to have a car. Well, they didn't have those things. So everything is really in fairly close proximity. It's really amazing. You start seeing that people, you know, they may have ridden horses or donkeys or what, but they walked. It brings all the Bible stories to life. I just got back, so it was a couple of weeks ago. This is winter over there. I went to the West Wall, the Wailing Wall is what they call it, I think, where you put prayers in it and stuff. And we were able to, and it was raining.
Oh my goodness.
It was raining. So with my little umbrella, I was able to put prayers in the wall with no one around. And in the summertime, I've been told you can't even get to the wall. You just stand at 4 or 5 rows back. Very lucky. We did have to contend with a little bit of rain, but, you know, it's wonderful because we didn't have any lines or anything.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, there is a song that you've done on the album Swing Set that is very special, and it's called Man Walks Among Us, and I think this is a great time to play this song. So let's take a listen to that and come back and talk more with LEELEE Robert on the Campfire Cafe.
Warm are the winds of the desert, a world passes round. I stop to survey all the beauty that's here. When a shadow crosses the ground, it's an eagle that circles above me, and she screams to her friends on the hill, stay close together, move not a feather. Man walks among us, be still, be still. Man walks among us, be still. Everything hides, but I see them. I've spotted an old mother quail, and then I see looking right back at me the eyes of a young cottontail. I see a coyote sneak in as he crawls through the brush on the hill. An eagle screams down, stay close to the ground. Man walks among us, be still, be still. Man walks among us, be still. 20 feet high in the side of a cactus, I see a hole where the butcher bird stays. If mortals could choose, and if heaven should ask us, here's where I'd want to spend all of my days. Among
Robert gives us Marty Robbins' classic Man Walks Among Us in such her beautiful, unique style. I love your performance of this song, LEELEE. You just take your classic and you just grab it and you just totally make it your own.
Amen.
Well, honestly, I've actually done work philanthropically in the environment and conservation kind of issues, and this was really sung as a prayer. It really meant a lot to me, too, so thank you for that.
The album Swing Set that we've been playing today is a rich combination of original music as well as, I'm guessing, favorite, like Choo Choo Boogie and this song, favorite. Yep. I guess I'll say you cover some of your favorites. How did you decide on the mix of music?
My producer, Marvin Odell, helped me come up with, he's a wonderful producer. And, of course, Tom Boyer was a co-producer. But Marvin and I are good friends, and I rely on him. You know, it's a big jump for an artist to move from making all the decisions yourself to having a producer and a co-producer to give you feedback. It really does require a jump. That's what helped me really create award-winning albums. You know, you think you know the best. You always should have the bottom line say. Having input from people who have been in the industry a long time, who know what people like, and who can give you feedback. But you need a professional to say, hey, you know, it's catchy, but it's not probably going to be an award winner. Let's just keep that in the back burner type thing. You need someone like that. He actually came up with a few lines. For instance, we just played a little bit ago, Arizona. I'd written it probably 25 years ago. It sounded completely different. It was written in a totally different way. And Marvin said, you know, I kind of am hearing that song like a little bit like blue skies smiling at me. And he said, this is how I would sing that song, blah, 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 Arizona. And I went, oh, my gosh, absolutely fabulous. And so right on the spot, that was changed. The whole style of that song changed, and it was Marvin who came up with the idea. So he's good. And there have been a few lines that he said, rather than saying it this way, why don't you say it, this word in it? Instead, it's better meter-wise or whatever. And he's brilliant. He's a really good friend. I came up with about 20 songs, and we whittled it down to 12 because he thinks that's the magic number. So he helped me come down to what we did.
Marvin, I hope you're listening today because you may never be complimented as greatly as you did this week. I want to get to another song real quick. Tell us about Finger Licking Music. That's a totally different title from Man Walks Among Us.
That was co-written by Peggy Malone and Marvin, and how it originated with Peggy Malone, a good friend of mine. She was the one who got me into the Western Music Association. She has her own unique style, and I said, you know, Peggy, your voice reminds me of a voice you'd hear at a barbecue. It's so much fun, and I could just see people licking their fingers with the barbecue sauce and listening to you. And I said, you know, your voice reminds me of like a finger-licking music. That's how this song came to be.
All right. Well, it's a great song, Finger Licking Music, LEELEE Robert.
Licking music, the kind that makes you sing. that banjo ring. High, low, now stir it slow. We'll be cooking soon with finger-licking music. We'll two-step round the room. Come on. Finger-licking music, finger-licking tunes. Finger-licking, guitar picking, boot-kicking blues. Grab your coat and grab your hat. There's not a thing to lose. Finger-licking music. Wear out your dancing shoes. Finger-licking music, the kind that makes you stop, jump down, spin around, and dance until you drop. Sure makes me feel happy when you play that song with finger-licking music. You know you can't go wrong. Finger-licking music, finger-licking tunes, finger-licking, guitar picking, boot-kicking blues. Grab your coat and grab your hat. There's not a thing to lose. Get that finger-licking music and wear out your dancing shoes. Music, finger-licking tunes, finger-licking, guitar-picking, boot-kicking blues. Grab your coat and grab your hat, grab your honey too. Get that finger-licking music and wear out your dancing shoes. Get that finger-licking music and wear out your dancing shoes.
Well, that's Finger-Licking Music, LEELEE Robert, and LEELEE has been our guest today on the Campfire Cafe. And Lee, I know everybody's going to want to find your music, so why don't you give us your website and any of your social?
All right. Well, you can find all my social on my homepage at www.leeleemusic.com. That's LEELEE music.com. There's a link to my latest album, and you can find all my other albums there and all of my social media on there, plus a few things that might surprise you.
It's a great website.
Oh, you got to go and look for that. But anyway, well, you have been so much fun to have on the show today, and we look forward to having you back. Get that new album ready to roll and come back to Nashville and record that. We'd love to see you.
Okay, I'll keep working on it. Thanks for the encouragement, and right. I can't wait till I'm back on the show. We're
going to close this out with another great song from the album Swing Set. It's called Enjoy the Ride.
I was nominated to be queen, rodeo rodeo queen for a day. I got some new boots and a crown just in case I won that had silver inlay. I practiced my speech in a real cute song. When they didn't call my name, something went wrong. If you get bucked off, you've got to get back on, and remember to enjoy the ride. Pull out of the chute, riding dynamite, a bucking and a snorting like hay. Well, it seemed like an hour, and it was only 2 seconds, and you felt like you would break your neck. Well, it seemed like the ride was the right thing to do, to win a big purse and a big belt buckle too. Well, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, but remember to enjoy the ride. Okay, fellas. But lost the latch. There's a better rider coming that'll light your match. Just remember who you are. So if you are nominated to be queen, rodeo queen for a day, you go ahead and get yourself those beautiful boots and the crown with the fancy inlay. Because you're queen of the world, not just for a day. It's who you feel you are, oh, in the old way. If you get bucked off, you just get back on and say, remember to enjoy the ride. Oh yeah, remember to enjoy the ride. Your day is coming, remember